Welcome to Unsold Showroom Traffic. In this series, we're going to talk about the importance of making sure we do everything possible to turn these unsold showroom buyers into appointments to come in and purchase a vehicle. First off, you want to know the reason why you're following up. What is it you're trying to do? What is the goal? When you call a buyer from last night, this morning, that didn't buy a car, are you trying to get a deposit on the vehicle? Do you need pictures of their current vehicle so you could take it to a manager? Are you trying to set an appointment, which is usually the goal? Why are you calling? So often, we'll hear untrained salespeople call a customer and they'll say something like this: "Hey, I was just calling to say thank you. I wanted to see if you had any questions. Do you need any help with anything? Did you buy a car yet?" And they won't have clear direction on why they're making the call. Before you ever dial, know what success is, know what the goal is. And more often than not, the goal is an appointment. It's important to keep in mind that these calls will go best when you start the deal fresh. Just start them clean. Have it start over. This is a TO to yourself. Obviously, things did not go perfect while the buyer was at the dealership. How do you know they didn't go perfect? Because they didn't buy a vehicle. So if you jump right into the problem from yesterday or from earlier today, you might be chasing the wrong thing. If the buyer told you when they were at the dealership that the price was too high, and you jump right into, "Hey, have you had a chance to think about the price?" Maybe that wasn't the real reason that they decided to not buy the vehicle. Maybe they needed to go home and talk to their spouse. Or maybe they wanted to go to another dealership to see what was there. Or maybe they wanted to call their credit union. You never ever know. That is why it is so important to start the deal fresh and start the deal clean. And remember that the objection should always come from the buyer and not from you. You want to make sure that you have an unsold showroom traffic call guide. We have customizable ones that you could download right from within the portal. You want to make sure that you have an unsold showroom traffic call guide. We have customizable ones right within the portal that you could make your own. Typically, though, most people have the most success when they just use our call guide as is. This call guide does a very effective job at either selling an appointment to the buyer or finding out the reason that they are not doing business and turning that reason into a car deal. When you're calling up the buyer, again, more often than not, goal number one is the appointment. If you don't get the appointment, though, this call guide does a very good job at finding out the main reason that the buyer's not buying so you could get with management or circle up with yourself to put a deal together. It's also important to diversify your follow up. Calls are a great way to stay in front of the buyer. You want to be able to mix things up, though. Have you ever sent the buyer a letter or a postcard to their home? That type of stuff sets you apart. Have you ever sent them a cool picture that they could post on social media? "Hey, why don't you post this truck and see what your friends think?" Things like this will set you apart, and it's important to make sure that your follow up is diversified. It's important to think outside the box. Now, I'm not telling you to do this stuff with every single customer. I'm just telling you, when you do things like this and when you're open to things like this, sometimes you're going to find a deal. Let's say you're working with somebody and they say, "You know what? I really like the car. I'm just not sure when I'm going to be able to come out there." "Hey, you know what? I'm going to be in the area today of your work. I got to run an errand. I wouldn't mind bringing the vehicle by so you could take another look at it. You want me to run the vehicle by your office so you could take one more look?" Again, is it always going to work? No. Will it make you a deal every once in a while? Abso-freaking-lutely. Have you ever left somebody a review? "The reason I'm calling, I just want to thank you." You go through the call guide, natural chatter takes place. You could tell them this: I know you're in sales and you sell real estate, and reviews are super important to salespeople. I wrote you a 5-star review about how awesome of a person you are. If you wrote somebody a review, would that not get their attention and have them thinking about you? Again, outside the box type stuff. Let's say you're showing somebody a truck. You don't put a deal together. You're super friendly with them on the used truck. You send them a toy truck to their house or office. Would that not get their attention? Common sense always prevails. You don't want to do anything to freak anybody out. This outside the box type of stuff, though, is a great way to build great rapport with a buyer. And I'll leave you with this more outside the box thinking and things we're going to cover in this series. The immediate callback. This is one of my absolute favorite calls, or the curbside call. When I'm working at a dealership, I beg to make this phone call. You're $500 away from the deal. The buyer's in the parking lot. You call them up. You call them while they're still at the dealership. Now, everybody always agrees that we should call every customer back, even when things don't change, when things are exactly the same. At a minimum, we should call people back to say thank you. Everybody always agrees with that. Well, if it is okay to call somebody back the next day when nothing's changed, when they're 20 minutes away from the dealership, couldn't we call them right away when nothing's changed? Hi, buyer. This is Kyle from the dealership, the guy you were just talking to. Oh, hey, what's going on? I'm here. I'm still outside. Yeah, the reason I was calling you, I got one more thing that I got to show you. Can you come back inside? Well, what is it? Come back inside. I promise you it's going to be something good. The buyer walks back inside. Maybe you say something like this. You know what? I talked to my manager, and my manager assured me this is the best deal you're going to get anywhere. You're not going to get a better price no matter where you go, and I don't want you to miss out on this. We could take another $100 off. Let's just do this deal, or whatever the case may be. And you get the close. Knowing exactly where you are going with things, knowing exactly what you're going to say to the buyer, having call guides that move you in the direction of a deal is a great way to be successful. And we're going to cover this and so much more in this series.